Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure. I can see it's almost a house full here. So thank you for showing up in the morning. And so the topic for today is the permaculture way of life. So when I googled what permaculture is, I knew a little bit about it. But when you Google it as a layman, what you see is that it's a combination of two words. Maybe it's permanent and agriculture brought together. Is that right? Can you please tell us what permaculture is now?
Sure. So, permaculture originated as permanent agriculture.
My mic is not. There is a
Okay. So, permaculture originated as permanent agriculture. It was a concept which was coined by two agricultural scientists in Australia who were trying to find ways to grow food with less water. And they said, listen, let's look at a forest system. Who waters the forest? Nobody. Who does budai in the forest? Nobody. Who throws seeds in the forest? Nobody. Yet, old growth forests are the most productive places on earth. So they started thinking, if we can actually do agriculture in a forest setup, then maybe our inputs will reduce and so will our water. And that's why permaculture farms are also called food forests. However, over the last 20-30 years, this movement has become more of a permanent culture, not just permanent agriculture. Because what we found is that we've managed to build habitats and living systems within these permaculture farms. And therefore it has become a way of life, not just a way of growing food.
Right. So, as far as I could research about you, I know that you have a business degree and you don't really have a farming background. So I think you call it that you moved from an ego-driven profession to an eco-driven profession. So please tell us a little bit about that. How did you get interested in this field and how has the journey been like for you?
Sure. So you're right. My husband and Agam and I are both business school graduates. I'm from IIM Bangalore. We both had very long corporate careers in Mumbai. And you know, when we used to look out of our balcony in the Mumbai apartment, we realized there's something wrong with this world. Okay, there's always a lack of water, pata nahi monsoon aayega nahi aayega time pe. We have no idea what we are eating. Our food is slow poison, it's laced with chemicals. And then once we moved to Gurgaon, we realized yahan hawa bhi nahi hai. So we don't have fresh air, we don't have clean water, we don't have uncontaminated food, yet we all seem to be very happy with ourselves. Now, this is called climate anxiety, and I think almost all of us feel it. But there is a feeling that we can't do anything about it. So yaar, maze karo. Koi baat nahi, dekhega jo hoga. So maybe Agam and I were also in a similar mode till we heard about permaculture. When we heard about permaculture, we thought, yaar, this is something we can do. What we can do is we can save a little piece of nature for the future generations. Maybe we can grow our own food. We can harvest rainwater. And we can create a source of unlimited oxygen. And within 5 or 6 weeks, we had come to Chandigarh. It's our hometown. We both belong to Chandigarh. And we found a piece of land on the outskirts. And I'd like to put up the piece of land photograph, the first photo, to show everybody what that land looked like when we first came here. But we'll continue. And we started work. This was way back in 2010. And we still had our day jobs. We used to work, I used to be Chief Marketing Officer at Axis Bank. My husband Agam was Head of Trading at Standard Chartered Bank. We still had our day jobs, but we started working on this piece of land.
Okay. Right. So can we have the presentation please? Some pictures of how the land was converted, what it looked like earlier and how ma'am transformed it with Sir's help. I think this is a joint project that you started together.
Well, like they say, behind every successful woman there's a man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that photograph will come up.
Okay.
Let's continue with that session.
So, one common point that I can see between the last panel discussion that we had in this panel discussion is that Lieutenant General KVS Nightingale sir mentioned that revolutions take place when your future generation is at risk or when your children are at a risk of something, right? And my question to you is that you mentioned somewhere in one of the interviews that ecological security over financial security to the next generation is to be provided. So can you please tell us a little bit about what ecological security is? We've heard of the concept of financial security, but this is something that I heard for the first time. So if you could tell us.
Yeah, maybe I coined the phrase, so that's nice. I think the way Agam and I look at the future and look at what we leave behind for our children is not just financial inheritance. Because honestly, if our children and the next generation don't have basic necessities that they need to stay alive, okay, this is just, we are talking about being alive, we are not talking about doing anything else in life, which is clean air, fresh water, and uncontaminated food. I have no idea what these children are going to do with properties, penthouses, mutual funds, gold, diamonds. I don't know what they're going to do with it. So I think as a parent, the first and foremost responsibility we have is to provide ecological security. Basic stuff. Uske baad you talk about doing something else. So I think as successful corporate people, and we see the lifestyles that successful corporate people lead, I think we made this a priority. We have put our money here, we've put our efforts here, we've put our sweat and blood here. And we are really happy that we've actually managed to save a piece of nature. The project is about 10 acres, not just for our children, but for the future generations.
Got it. So we have some pictures here of the land. How was it earlier? So can you please tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, so it was a barren piece of land, and I would say it's maybe it's just a degenerated piece of land. In fact, those of you who are landowners, if you harvest your current crop, your land will look like this. It's a degenerated piece of land. The soil has no life. There is no water harvesting happening here. There's a hard pan, which means if you start digging, you will hit a hard pan, which has happened because of tractoring, because of the use of chemicals, because of constant tilling. And there is no life. What we are growing today is lifeless food grown with the help of chemicals. So that's what our land looked like. And what are the permaculture principles? And if I may just jump to that, to restore land, the first thing we need to do is we need to bring life back to this land. And the three things we do is first we manage rainwater. All the rivers that the gentleman spoke about are actually fed by small efforts of people doing rainwater harvesting. And I'm quite happy to say that I'm one of them. And so we now harvest millions of liters of rainwater on our land. On this 10-acre piece of land, at least 25 to 30 million liters of water go into the ground every year. Usually this water is running off from everybody's feet and our cities. The second thing we do is we do a lot of tree plantation. So on this land we've planted 6,000 trees. It's a combination of native trees, medicinal trees, timber trees and fruit trees, which helps us to create a full ecosystem. And the third thing we do is we rebuild the soil by mulching, by recycling nutrients. Now in this life, in this forest, we grow our food. And today we grow 150 food items. For our own kitchen and our own food, we only need salt from outside. So in fact, when Operation Sindoor was launched, the only thing I had to do was to go to the market and buy 10 kgs of salt. That's it. I don't have to do anything. I always joke that I can build a wall in front of my gate and live here for the rest of my life. Because we grow all our food ourselves. We harvest millions of liters of water. The beautiful part is we share this space with many other species. There is a misconception amongst humans that we are supposed to dominate this planet. We don't. We are one of the many species that live on this planet. And if you are a landowner, it's your ethical and moral responsibility to share your land with other species. And we are extremely proud that 50 species of birds have made their home here. And many species of reptiles, monitor lizards, butterflies, insects, etc. And I'll just skip to the next slide if you can show what this land looks like today.
This is phenomenal, ma'am, and now I'm very curious to know that how do you get these species in? Like, is it all happening naturally, or are we creating some kind of artificial, I would say, circumstances to get the right kind of species in, so that everything can coexist together? Because if we compare it to a forest, there is a food web that exists, and it's nature's wonder that a food web exists in the first place. But how do you replicate it in a permaculture model?
That is exactly what permaculture is. permaculture is a system of design. It's not a nuska. It's not कि आप ये डालना आपका खाना हो जाएगा. No, it's a system of design. What is that design? The design mimics nature. First step is आप देखिए बारिश का पानी कहाँ से आ रहा है. उसको रोकिए. Water was never supposed to run off the soil the way it's running these days. So we first harvest and stop all the water at various places. Then we start doing the tree plantation. Now if you go to a forest, you'll never see monoculture. एक ही चीज लगी है जी. Chance ही नहीं है. If you see only one tree growing, that means किसी इंसान ने लगाया है. Nature में कभी भी monoculture नहीं होता. Nature values diversity because that helps it to build resilience. So we have planted, like I said, 6,000 trees, over 150 species. Every tree that we could find, we've planted. The first set of trees we plant are native trees. They are the trees जो बिना प्यार मोहब्बत के यहाँ उग जाते हैं. They are native trees, they belong to that area. Just like humans belong to certain areas, so do plants. So we plant those, they help to build the ecosystem. I like to say ये हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग हैं. Under that chhatra chhaya, you then plant your fruit trees. Under that canopy, you then plant your vegetables, your herbs, your crops, your creepers, your vines. So what you end up getting is almost like a vertical garden, with your tallest tree being about 60-70 feet, which is what we have, and the shortest plant being your pudine ka paudha at 6 inches, and everything gets sun. Everything gets sun. Okay, so the more diversity we have, the stronger our system. We don't have to use any pest control. We don't have to use any fertilizer of any sort. Our labor is very less, and I like to say we are very lazy. We don't do any work. Because think about it. Nature has provided food for all species. Only humans are working hard for it. Din raat, back-breaking work to grow our food. Why? Did nature not love us? No. We are either eating the wrong food or we are growing it the wrong way. So the problem is a combination of both. Once you start eating the right food and growing it the right way, you will realize you don't have to work that hard to grow your food.
So, ma'am, I went through one of your interviews on your YouTube channel, and I must appreciate the kind of content that you and your team are creating. Like, this needs awareness, and I think you mentioned somewhere that it took you 13 years to build this, if I'm not wrong. So can you please tell us what this 13 years has been like, and if you can give us a milestone map as well, that how many years did it take for you to achieve each milestone?
So I think the challenge is when people get a piece of land, especially urban people like us, we are always in a hurry to show how great a job we've done. तो पहली चीजें हमें क्या लगानी है? हमें लगाना है ब्रोकली और बेबी कॉर्न. उससे कम हम we are not happy. What we learned was this land has been degraded and degenerated, abused for at least 60-70 years since the Green Revolution. You have to give it a few years, boss. Give it a few years to get its energy back. What do? We plant our trees, we manage our water, we forget about it. Luckily for us, we lived in Mumbai. We could not do anything else, we didn't even have any other expectations. Within 4 or 5 years, the land regenerates itself. How do you know it's regenerated? You'll hear a buzz. Buzz. There are insects everywhere. Life has come. Chiriya, panchi aa gaye, patte aa gaye. Things have starting to come alive. In this environment, now you do your second round of plantation. You start planting your fruits, you start planting other things. Second story. Right? You start getting that. Then, so this is what happened with us for the first 5-6 years. Luckily, we moved to Gurgaon. Now we could bring our car, load it up with our stuff and take it back. Because Bombay mein to hum apna khana le ja nahi sakte. So that's the second step really. By 10 years into the project, we had what we call a habitat. Okay? There is a difference between a farm and a habitat. A habitat is a place in which we can live. And we started seeing कि यार ये तो अब यार गर्मी में भी आप चारपाई लगा के बैठे रहो कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है. There's no issue. So now what have we done? We've regenerated the earth. It is good enough for us to live in. It satisfies all our needs, not greed, needs, right? And it's ready for us to come and live in it. And that is the time that we built our house. And we moved here, which was in about 3 years ago. So 12 years of building a habitat and 3 years of enjoying it.
Wow, very nice. And I think sustainability comes at a cost. It is not convenient at all. It is definitely you have to go out of your way to become more sustainable in life, right? And in the era of quick commerce, Zomato, Zepto, Blinkit and all, do you miss convenience or are you satisfied with what you have?
I'm often asked, like, do you miss the urban conveniences? I'm not even sure what those are.
Okay.
I can't think, I go through my day, we live on the land. I don't think I've ever thought that, oh, I wish I could get this from Zepto. I didn't even know something called Zepto existed, so thank you. But there is nothing that I need. What do I need? I don't need anything from Zepto or whoever. Big time का एक कहावत है ना, कहते हैं पूरी दुनिया घूम के पता चलता है अभी आपका गांव ही सबसे अच्छा था। So शायद हम बुढ़े हो गए, हमें भी यही पता चला पूरी दुनिया घूम के कि village life is the best. And with time, a lot of times people try to do this very overnight. आज नौकरी छोड़ी कल वहाँ पहुँच गए, then Better India में उनके आर्टिकल आ जाते हैं, left their job, right? It's not a good idea to do that. I'll tell you why. Because there is a dating system happening here. You're dating your land. The land is a barren piece of land. It will take 10 years to come to this point, right? You are an urban, spoiled person who does not know how to live on this planet. It will take you 10 years to learn how to live on the planet. And a day will come when you and the planet will be happy to live in each other. So I think that's what happened with us. By the time we came to live here, we actually were just desperate to come and live here, right? So it's a slow process. आपको भी बदलना है. A lot of people ask me, हमारे पास ज़मीन है, can you design it for me? आप भी हमारे लिए ऐसा permaculture farm बना दो. I said ठीक है, मैं तो बना सकती हूँ, no problem. I'm a permaculture teacher, practitioner, consultant, expert. I can do it. पर आप तो बदलोगे ही नहीं. What's the point? The whole personal growth that you should undergo, you will not undergo. So it's a huge disservice to yourself to get somebody else to do this for you. You must do it yourself.
Understood. And as a 25-year-old ma'am, I would like to tell you that it's not the age. Village life is actually the best, and a lot of people are now coming to realize that. In fact, I'll share an instance with all of you. So one of our clients at Pioneer AgriTech yesterday morning visited from Delhi. He especially came from Delhi to meet us. Only and only because he is done with his job. This is a 22-year-old that I'm talking about. Works in a bank, I won't name the bank at all. And is frustrated with his job and wants to leave Gurgaon and come back to his village in Sirsa because he has some agricultural land there, wants to take up farming full time. And he wanted to understand how we can help him with productive farming, set up a project, get a good ROI so that he can leave his job and then compensate for it financially from the agriculture that he does on his land. So in fact, Shubham and I, Shubham is one of our agronomists at Pioneer, and we were laughing at how can a 22-year-old graduate get a job, get frustrated, and then find another alternate career just being 22. So I think a lot of youngsters are also now realizing that it's better to go back to villages than to go to metropolitan cities. And in fact, as a 25-year-old, I also want to know, how do we get involved in this?
So let me first also comment on the 22-year-old. At no point in time here am I saying that my 25-year career in the corporate world was a waste of my time. Okay? I think I could do this. I can sit here and speak today, and I can do many other things because of the great skills and competencies I've built in the corporate world. And the 22-year-old will find it a little hard because I don't think they'll have those kind of competencies. So there is value in the job that you get. I always say, it doesn't matter how you earn your money. What matters is how you spend it. Are you spending your money on the right thing? Are you just blowing it up on brands and new cars and big watches? No. Take your money, offset your carbon footprint by adopting a piece of land, piece of this planet, piece of our mother, and healing her back to health. That's what you should be doing with your money. Can I just also request for the next slide to come up here? Because I'm aware, I'm sorry I should have put these photographs much higher, so my bad. But maybe you guys are getting a little bit of a look of the house that we have, which we finally built and we live on the land. I don't know if you were going to ask me anything about it, Anshuman, but I just wanted to mention that while we live on the land now, we live in a house which is made out of earth. It's made of earth, stone and lime. It's a completely sustainably made house. We harvest all the rainwater from our rooftops and we drink and live off rainwater from our roof for at least 9 months in a year.
Wow.
We have no heating, no air conditioning.
Even at this time?
Even at this time. We don't have an air conditioner in our house.
Wow.
Okay, and the house cools itself naturally and heats itself naturally. We, like I said, grow all our own food and we live in a completely non-toxic environment. And this is thanks to the fact that permaculture allows you to build a habitat, not just a food production factory.
Right. Makes sense. So, let's say I am a landowner based out of anywhere in India and I have about 1 acre of land and I want to get into permaculture. I don't have the misconception that I want to get it done tomorrow itself. I am ready to give time to it, give time to myself, give time to the land and the ecosystem to grow. So what is the first step? How should I initiate my journey towards permaculture?
So the first step is getting to know your land. Okay, your land is not a square box on a piece of paper. It's not. It's not the way how architects and landscape architects look at it. ये नक्शा है जी, नक्शा नहीं है. ये एक जीता जागता चीज है. It's an ecosystem. There is water which comes from somewhere. There are winds which blow from some other way. There is some soil quality. There are some trees which grow here. So you have to become familiar with your land. You have to get to know your land a little bit. Then you have to design it. If you design it correctly, it will work on its own. If you design it incorrectly, you will constantly be working hard. You will have to do all the work. So it's a design science which you can very easily learn. I offer courses on permaculture. You can take those. You can watch videos. It's not rocket science at all. In fact, only for the last 10,000 years we've been doing what we call modern agriculture. And prior to that, we used to always live in a forest and be hunters and gatherers. हमारे DNA में, हमारे ज़हन में ये actually coded है. Permaculture is coded in our DNA because it predates agriculture by a million years.
Right.
But we don't allow it to surface because we are bogged down by modern conveniences, attractions, distractions. I realized the minute I set all that aside and started connecting with the land on a primal basis, I knew it all.
Yeah.
I knew it all. तो मेरे ज़हन में है.
Nice. And I've also heard that this place that you've created, the land and the home both, they are open to visitors. So how can people who are interested in visiting this place kind of do something, come here, have a look at what you've created, and maybe we can have a vibrant forum, outdoor event sometime there.
So I do introduction to permaculture tours every weekend. You can come to my website, you will have to buy a ticket. Unfortunately, unlike your events, this is ticketed. And I will walk you around. I will walk you around and I will teach you how to convert a barren piece of land into the lush food forest, जिसमें हमारी mythology में राम सीता लक्ष्मण पांडव्स कई साल रह पाए थे. They found a habitat and food in those kind of forests. That is the forest that we are creating. So I will teach you that. If you are looking to build a sustainable house like us, then you can actually take a sustainable house tour. So you can come for it with your architect preferably, and I can show you the kind of technologies and materials and techniques that we've used to build a sustainable house.
That's really nice. I think we now have a fair idea of what permaculture is. And the next slide, please.
And that's just to give you a little bit of a look. Like, I'm so sorry, these photographs are all at the bottom, but that's what the farm looks like. And if you just go to the next slide, yeah, you can follow our work and contact us on these various handles.
So I leave it to the audience now. If you have any questions about permaculture or what MAM does, please sir.
Just a quick question. Do you have a minimum size in mind which could be grown into a sustainable habitat?
No.
1 acre,
You
half
can
acre?
start from your backyard, sir, and you can do this on 500 acres. It doesn't matter what the size of your land is, as long as you design it correctly.
how do you handle insect pests, rodents, and wild animals?
Very good question. We actually don't handle them, they handle each other. So the biggest, so pests, very quickly to give you a sense, pests are any species whose population has gone out of control. Okay? Humans are the biggest pests on the planet. Now, why do we become out of control is because we have unlimited food to eat and no predator. Now, when you don't do monoculture, nothing becomes a pest. And when you have so many birds in your ecosystem, they eat insects through the day. One bird eats 100 insects a day. So the idea is to create a food web, not to interfere in it. The minute humans start interfering, we create trouble. I have realized the best parts of my farm are jahan koi nahi jata. Always the best fruit and the best things are going there. So the system, if you set up an ecosystem, it looks after itself. You come to the introduction to permaculture tour, you learn more about how the system works.
You don't use any pesticide?
No, not at all. क्या बात कर रहे हो? If I had to use pesticide, तो मैं बाजार से ना खाना खरीद लेती.
One question, very interesting concept, but as you mentioned in your talk also, this is a luxury which you could afford after your job in the bank. So if we are sitting in a region where we have spoiled our area to feed the country as such. We in Punjab had a fertile and a living soil, and we killed our soil because otherwise India could not have been self-sufficient in its food, this thing. So it's quite an interesting issue that you have brought up, because we as Punjabis need to think that what we have done with our land, our living land, which has been killed, and this was something which was necessitated by a larger interest, and now we are at a stage where we've killed off our land, and how do we go back to the state which you have, and it is all about the ecosystem. As you answered his query, it cannot be a small farmers who convert, it has to be the total state which has to be bought back.
नहीं sir, ऐसा नहीं है. Like I am 10 acres in a land in an area where everybody is a chemical farmer, but my ecosystem works very well. In fact, I will take credit for the rainfall in my village. It rains in my village because of me. It does not for no other reason, right? Because of the forest I have planted. So each one of us can do something. ऐसा नहीं है that the whole state has to. I think we need to be the change we want to see, like Mahatma Gandhi said, and like my father said, charity starts at home. You want to feed somebody, feed yourself first. Okay, and today we think we are feeding people, but we are actually just slow poisoning people. That's what we are doing.
Thank you so much.
We run out of time.
Yeah.
I think we have one last question.
Okay, please. Please, could you just share out the mic?
Yeah, congratulations ma'am, it was very inspiring. I am Dr. Sachin, I am a cancer specialist, and we have started our own self-organic farming group. So this is about 6 years back. It's not something like we have created, this is on a very big scale, but we have about 4 acre land of one of our group members. So we got inspired from Kheti Virasat Mission, and we see a lot of patients, and patients ask ki cancer kyun ho raha hai. So one of the reasons is the chemical in the food, because our soil, air, water is all very polluted. So we are mainly growing vegetables there for self-consumption of our group members. So I just wanted to know how much quantity of food you are able to procure, and how is it sufficient for how many families? Because even
So
by
we
growing,
take our surplus to the Chandigarh Organic Farmers Market, which happens every Saturday. And I would think maybe 20-30 families buy from us. So we initially, when we started this, I think we used to consume maybe 70% of the produce that we made, we grew, and 20% we just gifted to people. Today I think we sell 90% of what we grow and 10% we consume ourselves.
this includes fruits as well as vegetables.
This includes grains, dals, oils, fruit, vegetables, herbs, you name it.
Wow.
Yeah, and 22 different types of fruit. I mean, like I said, I'm 95% self-sufficient in food. The 5% that we buy is akroot, badam, kaju, kishmish. वो नहीं भी खाए तो भी चल जाए. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now you you're doing a commendable job, and from the entire audience, a huge applause for you.